Oh my goodness, beginners. There we are.
I don't blame you. We're in.
Here we go, seeing Bazaar once again. And on this map, we've been seeing a lot of aggression, but really, you've got to be pretty calculated with how you approach this map.
All right, now Bossfight are on offense. You know, they're a calculated team. They've got a 3-2 split with Globochem spreading quite evenly around the defense. You can see they have a good delta formation from the south looking north. So they're trying to cover every approach they can as Bossfight makes it around that map slowly. The top 3 guys in the north, slowly pushing around. We got Pants checking corners. Globochem, this is what Globochem excel at though, right? You know, in the defense, they've got all the angles covered. They're relying on each other. They don't need to say, are you in position? They know the guy's in position.
For sure, and we've been seeing a lot of turtling up, but Globochem having a slightly different approach. We see one of their members far east side, pretty alone and isolated over there, but hopefully he gets a good angle and is able to secure. But Bossfight is really focusing towards that middle market.
Right, right. I mean, and so Globochem don't know where they are. They're still looking for that, you know, any intel they can get. But what you'd like to see from Globochem is they have a very
he's crossing the street.
He is. And he's looking. What they're looking for, though, is a pick. So what happens? What Globochem like to do is they like to find a chink in the armor. They take down one player, and then they like file through on the defensive line and sweep in from behind. So the moment they find that chink in the armor, they go for it.
Definitely, and we see that uplink located near that center Humvee. They've got a lot of time though, Bossfight. Still with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, and Arsenic getting contact with a Bossfight member. Let's see.
I don't think he realizes he shot at a Bossfight, missed him, but I don't think the Bossfight member actually realizes what just happened.
Surely he heard that.
He didn't react though. He slowly walked away. Like I honestly don't know that he knows he was under attack.
It has been a long day for all of us
corner,
here.
Though. I think we're going to see Arsenic picking up a kill, and there it is. Takes down Hoochie.
Quick frag there, making it a 5 versus 4 scenario here for Globochem, and that advantage defending. And as we know, defending on Bazaar in particular seems to be a strong suit. Definitely an advantage for the defending team.
But that was a real fumble there. You know, like Arsenic gave away his position, and that peek by that player was just, he didn't come around pre-firing. So I really don't think he realized he was under attack. Arsenic getting that first pickup, though, it's a big deal. That's going to put Bossfight on the back foot, right? It's a psychological game. They know they're a player down. They don't know who took them down. And now we got Pants picking up Lagill.
It definitely is. And Arsenic still in that forward position, playing pretty aggressively. We actually haven't seen any teams playing this forward. Arsenic takes one player down and is not traded. He quickly gets away. This is a huge play from Arsenic with his second kill. And it looks like he's probably going to be able to get a third quick kill here.
We switch away from Arsenic just as he takes down UC Death. It's now a 5-on-1 situation.
Yeah, Arsenic, what a huge round, a huge play coming out of him and Globochem, really carrying his team. It's already a 5 versus 1 scenario here. Bossfight with a huge deficit. Wow, Arsenic, what a huge round for him.
Right, he's just in the right place at the right time every time.
Yeah, and he was the player that actually pushed forward right from the get-go. He crossed that street, went into kind of enemy territory, and started off with that opening frag.
Scorpio on the objective, though. He's just taken down Otto, and it's wide open for objective. They're all collapsing back. Scorpio picks up a second kill, but Toast finds him. Scorpio picking up 2 there. You see that reaction from Globochem, though? They knew straight away their objective was under attack, and they immediately collapsed back on it. But Scorpio still making sure that this wasn't a complete shutout from Globochem.
Yeah, that might bode well for them going into the next round. At least give them some confidence. Let them know, hey, you know what? I took 2 down with me before I went down. So that can give them some confidence going into that next round, specifically because it was a 5 versus 1.
Right, and you know, he brought it back to a 3 versus 1. And
yeah.
If it was against any other team, there would have been an opportunity for an uplink there. But this is Globochem we're talking about. You know, you don't mess with Globochem. You can't take down one or two of the players and expect them not to react immediately. But we saw from Arsenic such confidence to cross that road. It's a super, super risky move, but it paid dividends.
It absolutely did pay dividends. And I mean, the cojones want him to just cross the street like that. But I mean, that timing, that experience really shining through and understanding that, hey, there's probably not going to be anyone seeing me at this point in the round.
You know, and what that is research from Globochem. You know, these are guys who put the homework in. They're excellent on the field. They play 40 hours a week as a team. But also they put the research in, right? So they probably knew that Bossfight have a tendency to leave this lane quite wide open for a push, and that's exactly what we saw.
Absolutely, hopping right back into this now with Globochem on that attack, and Bossfight, it's going to try to defend here. And Globochem already up 1-0. That uplink is still in that center Humvee area.
Yeah,
Let's see if Bossfight kind of throw in some aggression just like Arsenic did last round.
So seeing Scooby-Doo lay down early suppression fire, just trying to pick up any kills. You know, at that range, he won't know if he ever actually gets someone, but you're putting the enemy under pressure straight away, all right? In a way, you're kind of telling them we know where you are even when you don't, right? Because there's bullets flying in my direction. Shit, they must have seen me, right? They must have seen me crossing that lane.
Yeah, just pulling out some cover fire. We have 3 members of Globochem pretty aggressively and quickly moving towards that northeast end of the map. Looks like they're going to try to wrap around and secure that center market.
Right, Scorpio's on it though. He's got that angle covered, so if the Globochem try and push from the east side, Scorpio might be able to pick it up. Meanwhile, Bossfight, the rest of Bossfight, quite collapsed around the objective, holding it tight. It's not as active a defense as we saw from Globochem, but it's still mighty effective. Now we're going to see Globochem looking again for that chink in that armor.
Definitely so, and Scooby-Doo just holding down at the ground and turtled up here near the uplink with UC Death together. It's going to be up to these guys to make sure that Globochem doesn't pull a fast one on them and try to put in that code to that uplink.
Right, right. I mean, and it's worth noting, so there's no HUD, but that pad we keep seeing them pull out, it actually shows where your friendlies are on the map. So you know who's alive, or how many people are alive, where the location is, and also tells you how much time you have left. And also it's what you use to make the cap. So what you'll see is a lot of players throwing that down on the floor, and they keep seeing, what? Hoochie picks up Toast.
Hoochie does pick up Toast, and just to kind of go a little bit more on your point there, that's kind of why that defensive side generally has a slight advantage, especially towards the beginning of those rounds, because these players are able to kind of hold up on those choke points and camp it out and wait for the enemy to really come into their crossfire.
Right, so you keep seeing them pull out that pad, right? Just going up to what I'm saying, so they're having a quick check, where are my teammates? Where are they, and where are they alive? So we keep seeing NVGs being used, right? Night vision goggles. Whenever you see that bright green, it's because they're trying to see the players in the dark corners, because obviously the lighting has changed. So if you see from this perspective, there's lots of little dark areas within buildings. So whenever we see those night vision goggles being used, it's to be able to illuminate those dark areas and actually catch someone who might be crouched, trying to be stealthy in those dark areas. So
and Bossfight with 5 members still up and alive, and Globochem down to 4. So Bossfight definitely have that advantage coming into this round, and they're on that defensive side, so they're already at quite an advantage here.
But look at Panzer's position here on the south side. He's got eyes on the objective. There's only one guy. There's one Bossfight checking his angle, but you know, he's going to be super lucky to see Pants. Pants, meanwhile, in a really dominating position. He can catch out anyone crossing. But Hoochie's seen him now. That smoke giving away Pants' position. Now Pants is repositioning, or not. He's just holding his angle. That smoke is a fake out. Arsenic also backing up Pants in the south, and that's where the real attack's going to come from, if you ask me. They're putting pressure on there. They're drawing Bossfight's attention in that direction. But meanwhile, Scorpio's making an amazing flank. Is it going to pay off? Scorpio picks up 1.
Will there be a trade?
Scorpio picks up 2.
Arsenic didn't even react there. I wonder if he had a miscomm or a miss.
Well, he didn't expect that flank, right? You hear Scorpio. 2 down, 2 down.
Yeah.
Auto picking up Legil. Grenade going in now on Hoochie. Hoochie's going to buy the farm.
What
Raphael.
a grenade by Raphael. Such a Kobe. What a toss. But that was just a down here.
Right. He's coming in to finish him off, though. Good night, Hoochie, sweet prince. He hasn't finished him off. So Hoochie will be able to continue feed intel on Raphael's position. He's not finished him off. I think maybe he does. And we are on a 3 versus 2 situation here now. 3-on-1. It's all down to Raph. And you know, if anyone can do it, a Globochem member can do it. He's not the strongest solo player. He's no Pants. He's no Auto, but he's got the shield. He's super effective. If he can sneak in, he might be able to sneak a cap. Also, that shield allows him to get intel, right? He can go up to a window.
Next room over from the red room.
We can hear though, Scoopy is calling out that enemy's position. He knows.
In the southwest.
Right, he's calling out Raph's position. They don't know they're only against 1 player, but already UC Death rounding now.
He heard him.
Well, UC Death picks him up. Bossfight's defense holds with a 3-2-0 Globochem. Exactly the same thing the Globochem had with Bossfight. 2 downs on the defensive side. So it's kind of a mirror right there.
And you saw Raphael drop his primary gun there and pick up that shield. I wonder if he's going to be regretting that decision. Maybe he should have just stuck to that rifle. It looked like he had that enemy dead to rights.
Well, Raph is, again, like I said before, he's a primary shield player. That's where his comfort zone is. And on a map like this with so many alleyways and such, it means you can really make the most out of that shield. In that situation, UC Death knew exactly where to fire. He fired to the feet. Raphael lifted his shield to shoot underneath it. But UC Death was already pre-firing that position, right? So UC Death, no slouch, the newest pickup by Bossfight. So he's never been on this stage before. He's never been at this level before. But showing his worth right now, an excellent pickup from Bossfight when they picked him up.
Definitely so, and that ties I didn't even catch the score. I
Yeah,
forgot
it's
to look.
1-1.
1-1.
Going into round 3 with Bossfight on the disadvantage. They're on attack right now, but that gives them the opportunity to get the uplink. If they can get the uplink, just like we saw G-Men, that means they take the first map. It's anyone's games right now. I mean, we saw that Bossfight were no slouches on the attack. They got shut down pretty hard, but Scorpio brought it, and then we saw on the defense, Scorpio again bringing an excellent flank, taking out 2 Globochem players. And then we saw the rest of the Bossfight acting as a team, calling out the enemy's position, and then UC Death rounding on that. Scooby held the defensive position on the objective, UC Death being flexible, a flexible player, then rounding down, being proactive with the defense, not waiting for the shield player to come to him. He went and sought him out, found him, took him down.
He definitely did, and it looks like that those proactive plays and the aggression and splitting off and kind of sending the one player to go out and look for those frags. These kinds of plays seem to be working out for both these teams.
Yeah, but it's super risky though. The number of times you can send out a player and they instantaneously die, and then you as the player who's made that flank, you feel foolish. Like, I've just given away my life for nothing. Was it worth it? Sometimes it is. If it pays off like we just saw with Scorpio, then it's worth the 3 or 4 times it doesn't. For that one time it does, because you can always rely on the 4 remaining team members to hold that line.
Definitely so, and taking those risks and gaining those rewards is definitely a huge part of this competition, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So one of the key aspects in this game, as we've mentioned a few times now, is the sound propagation through the walls and everything. So when you hear footsteps and everything, if you've got that tablet out, you can see where your teammates are, right? If you hear footsteps and you look at that tablet and you don't see a friendly near you, or you don't see a friendly moving, you know it's an enemy. But because you can hear the footsteps, you know if you use your microphone and you try and tell a friendly that they're there, the enemy will hear you. So the teams have developed like Morse code, right? So he'll double tap on his walkie-talkie, and they'll be like, "We've got an enemy close. Can you confirm, Scooby, is it you?" And he'll maybe one click for yes, 2 clicks for no, right? So the different teams pick up different ways of communicating without giving away to the enemy where they are.
Have you been noticing the clicks in that last match? I thought it was fairly quiet, actually. Not a lot of comms.
We wouldn't hear the clicks, right? Like it doesn't. You as a player, you hear click, click, click. So for us to hear that, we'd have to be zeroed in on a player from their audio. You don't. That's the benefit of why you use the Morse code, right? No one around you hears that click. The only person who hears that click is your teammates in their ears. So they just hear the like someone's trying to communicate you through it. If you've ever used the walkie-talkie and you hold down the talk button, there's that interference comes in like shh. So that's what you hear, the shh.
I see.
And what that does, the benefit of that, I know it's not great communication, but it doesn't give away your position to the enemy, and that's so key in a game like this, where sound is one of the key deciding factors in a lot of close-range fights.
Definitely, and it looks like the players are warming up and trying to get ready for this next match.
So, I mean, like, VR, in this case, on this kind of base, is still... It's still an experimentation, right? We've got 40 sensors down there. We've got some really high-powered PCs. On this live venue, it's not like any other kind of venue, right? You don't have the PCs on your desk. You don't have a simple setup. You have lots of hardware down there. And unfortunately, the more hardware you add to anything, if it's industry or a car or anything, the more hardware you add, the higher potential you have for failure. The more moving parts in any system adds that potential failure. Unfortunately, it's just unfortunate that we're seeing it today. We're seeing that unfortunate side of these things.
Yeah, it's been kind of like a domino effect sort of day, huh? Just one thing after the other, kind of spiraling out of control at times.
I agree, but for me, it's worth it. I love Onward. I love casting Onward games. I love seeing these players playing at this level. For me, I would wait all day to see this match, and I have waited all day to see this match, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we see See, this is the thing I say. They're in. What we don't see is in between rounds, they're in a lobby. And on that lobby, they have a whiteboard, so they can use that whiteboard to draw up formations, draw up tactics, say, I'm going to be here, you're going to be there. And here we are, going into round 3, Bossfight on attack versus Globochem on defense. It's all to play for, 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1 here with... Just right in the beginning of the round, it looks like Bossfight is going to take the fight straight to Globochem, already taking out a member in toast. Scooby-Doo with an entry frag, communicating to his teammates here.
So this is the objective. We saw G-Men pull a cap on. We saw beginners almost cap this objective. We saw G-Men actually capture this objective. Now it's Bossfight's turn. Can they turn this into a cap? Can they turn it into a victory? Can they take map 1?
Yeah, it's all going to come down to Bossfight really taking their advantages. I mean, they've already taken one member out. This is really, the opportunity is there for that uplink.
All right, you've got 3 Bossfight members in the north. They've all got visuals on each other, so if one goes down, another one can react Try and pick up, but we see an offensive grenade going in, doesn't find anyone. Hoochie now looking for any pickup, looking for anyone in a window. Scorpio picking up Arsenic, that puts on a 5-3 situation with Bossfight moving on the objective. Now they're getting real close. Here he goes.
Some quick action, a lot of smokes coming down, and Scooby-Doo, another quick trade. This is it. He's putting in the code. Pants is taking down Lego, but I don't think he knows.
This is a big situation. All right, this could be it. This could be it.
Failed.
Scooby-Doo takes on Pants, but they got the uplink.
They got the uplink.
Bossfight takes map 1. Unexpected. This is what we're talking about. Unexpected plays. Bossfight taking map 1 versus Globochem. What an upset. We saw beginners lose to G-Man in exactly the same format. What is happening tonight?
Yeah, that uplink strategy, you know, I remember the first week I casted VR, I talked with Blue about the possibilities with the teams coming in and heavily relying on strategy in order to gain that 2-point advantage. And today we've already seen it twice.
Man, that was just amazing. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Sleepy across the way right now, and his mind is blown. Like, I'm quite happy he can't talk right now because he would just be doing exactly what I did when beginners lost to G-Man, which would just be completely out of breath and voice like, and I don't know what to say. Excellent plays from Bossfight there. Globochem taken apart. Like, this was such confident play by Bossfight.
It really was, and surprising. I mean, we saw Arsenic with such a huge round in this highlight play, that beginning round for Globochem. I thought Arsenic was really carrying Globochem through, but yeah, Bossfight coming through and really sealing the deal there.
Right, methodical play all the way through. Such a pleasure to cast it, such a pleasure to watch it. I hope you're all at home appreciating how amazing this is.
Definitely, and so we're going to take it to a quick break, and we will be back right after this.
elsewhere. It's blocking my sun.
This is the one I've been searching for.
You've always been a gambler, ready to make a wager.
Break through the door.
Or roll the dice. You've always known when to stand and when to hit, when to raise and when to bluff.
Your will is strong, but I will break you soon enough.
You know when you have a good hand, and you're not afraid to go all in.
And we're back with Bossfight versus Globochem, an upset in the making as we're watching right now, going into map 2, which is
Quarantine, and this is Globochem's pick, but going back to Bossfight, man, it's so impressive that they were able to make such quick, decisive, reactive decisions and go for that uplink when their EU brothers in beginners, when they had that opportunity, they weren't able to act quick as these guys in Bossfight.
You're absolutely right, but they did try. We saw Kev doing the uplink on any given day. I'm sure he could have done it in 4 seconds, just like the competitors G-Men did. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, whereas we saw Scooby doing that uplink, and he probably took about 7 or 8 seconds to do it. Unfortunate for Globochem, they just didn't react in time. The solo player took down 2 Bossfight players in that time. Probably thought he was relatively safe. He came round on the moment that uplink was sent.
For sure, and in those instances when you're down by yourself, it's definitely preferable that you go out there and hurry up and take that contact and either die or make something happen quickly, right?
Right. And what used to happen in the old days is when you were by yourself, nowhere near the objective, you would actually, and we're going into, sorry, round 1, map 2, Bossfight versus Globochem. Bossfight on the defensive advantage with the burning building objective. You can probably figure out why it's called the burning building objective, right, guys?
I think we can. We see the burning there, and you're absolutely right. We're hopping right into this, and this is going to be Quarantine. And this map is a little bit similar to Bazaar, I think, with a lot of buildings, some high ground that you could potentially take and take some advantageous fights for yourself. Right,
but with much longer sight lines. It's very similar to Bazaar in a lot of ways, but it's those longer sight lines that really make a difference. And it's those lanes. You see the roads. There's a road in the middle and a road in the south, and it's crossing those roads is such a challenge, especially if either team, defensive or offensive, are locked down. You really have to put smokes and try and fake out the enemy to try and get across those roads.
Now, do you think we're going to see a sniper coming out of Arsenic here? I mean, you mentioned those long sight lines. Arsenic, he's known for his sniper.
Yeah, I kind of hope so, to be honest. But you look at this Bossfight defense, look at the perfect line across the map, covering every angle, just trying to pick up where the enemy is. And I think Hoochie's made one of the Globochem. So that's really important because you don't know where the enemy spawns, right? So as a defender, you don't know exactly where. There's options where Marsok can spawn. So until you see where they are, or until one of them makes a mistake and fires the gun, you're still trying to guess which direction are they coming from. Are they coming from the south? Are they coming from the north? Ligil picking up Toast. He's down him, not out him. So now they know where Globochem is.
And Ligo in such a cheeky little position with just a tiny sliver through this truck, and yeah, taking full advantage and understanding his line of sight.
Right, and they've downed him, not out him, so that you were still going to get intel from that downed Globochem player. Maybe they don't Ligil doesn't realize he hasn't killed him, but that means Arsenic here dropping smokes may be able to get up that res, but he's actually moving away from his downed teammate. So someone maybe else coming in to pick him up. But it's super risky. Whenever you go for a pickup, it pays dividends if you can do it. And we've got the revive, but there's potential that you lose 2 players rather than 1 when you go for a revive, right?
Definitely, but that frag came so early on in the round that Globochem was still on their side of that line of scrimmage, that little invisible line sometimes that forms. So they were definitely in position to get that revive off.
But look at Globochem's position here. They got 4 in the north against only 2 defenders, but now Ligil picking up Toast. Taking him down this time, it is down and out, so that puts Bossfight in an advantageous 5 versus 4 position with 2 minute 40 on the clock. Sorry, 2 minute 45.
And Ligo once again opening up the round for his team in Bossfight, and they're already at an advantage with a point on the board, so Ligo really coming through strong, and Scooby-Doo picking off Arsenic once again. This is another huge advantage for Bossfight in a 5 versus 3 with 2.5 minutes still left on the clock.
Ligil is down, but Scooby-Doo picks up the refrag and is then picked up, so it is now a 3 versus 2 situation with Scooby still able to give intel to his teammates. He's down, not out, so it means he can spot the enemy, radio it back to his teammates. I doubt they're going to be going for a res, but at the very least he can call out where that position is in the north.
Definitely, but Globochem is still in a slight disadvantage here as attacking and 1 man down, but they do still have 2 minutes fully left on the clock. Let's see if they can pull something off here.
Right, again, you've got Otto, who's that. If you don't want a player left on the enemy who's capable of turning things around by himself, it's Otto. I've said it before. Otto is a player who's very tactical. He looks for any opening he can find, and he won't rush in. He'll methodically take a guy out, reposition, and just try and cause confusion on his approach. Right now, he's crossing the middle road, the north road as it's known.
I think he's trying to rendezvous and meet back up with his mate here and try to make the best of their situation here and possibly create some sort of trades and make it a quick 1v1 scenario of some sort.
That was so risky. Scorpio now going in for a res. Again, Both teams making really risky moves. It could pay off if Scorpio is able to get there. Raphael in the wrong position at the wrong time, though. He's not going to see the pickup. Scorpio gets Scooby up. That means it's 4 versus 2 now, with two Bossfight in the north versus 2 Globochem in the north. Bossfight, very dominant position here.
Wow, and
Legil is dead.
Scorpio
Legil is dead.
with
Legil
a
is dead. He cannot. Enemy in North Garden. North Garden.
Scooby makes it out. That comm's
makes
coming
those
out.
comms. Yeah, I wanted to hear that Scooby-Doo.
He doesn't realize how close an enemy is to him, though. There's literally about
He's
5
running
meters
left,
away.
North Garden towards northwest office.
Incoming
Might have an
grenade, but it's
enemy.
not. It falls short, though. The grenade. He sees auto. Scooby takes him down, though, so now it's a 4-on-1 situation with Globochem coming in for a refrag, but I don't think it's going to come in time. Raphael is out of position. He's behind the truck, moving up on them, but he's not going to. It's 4-on-1, right? He's got 37 seconds left on the clock. He's going to have to go right for the objective. He stands no choice otherwise.
Definitely Bossfight with a huge advantage, but Raphael with a good look there. No possibility for a trade, and in fact, Bossfight do trade that out and close that round out pretty convincingly.
Right, he thought he was alone up there. He took down Scooby. He thought he took the sold guy there. Scorpio didn't pop up and get the immediate refrag. He stayed low, stayed low. Let the enemy think he's won. Let the enemy think he's alone, and then pops up, gets the kill in the back.
Definitely so, and man, what a convincing round, and once more from Bossfight, and they were on that defensive side, on their attack and on their defense. You were right. Bossfight have some secret tactics that they're bringing out here today.
Right, I mean, they've done the research, yes, but I think Bossfight have been concentrating on each other, right? Like Legil said in his interview, they're concentrating on learning each other, learn what your teammates do, and that way you can anticipate every move the people you're relying on are going to make, and therefore you can be a much stronger team because of it.
Definitely so, and man, Globochem, they're going to have to turn things around here. They've only got one more shot, one more chance here to actually have a shot at that grand final tomorrow, and that's a huge difference.
Right. You know what must be, what's going through Globochem's head right now? They've just seen the Nemesis beginners get knocked out. And now they're potentially in the same position themselves. This maybe rock the boat for them.
It certainly will, and this is that kind of pressure that's doubly pressure on land, and the fact that they're 2 maps down, and
Right.
and this is do or die for them. So this kind of pressure is definitely something that experienced players definitely have an edge on. However, whenever you're faced off against it, it gives you some jitters.
Right, absolutely. Even if you're this top dog team, like
Right.
you said, right? I mean, you've just seen someone you didn't expect lose, and now you've just lost the first map. So, oh no, we're like we're suddenly the unflappable team is flapping, and we just saw there, unfortunately, a restart. We don't know what the source of that is. Hopefully, it won't delay us by too long, because I really want to see what's about to happen. You know, this is Bossfight's big opportunity. The 1 map up, like just like with G-Men versus beginners, nobody would have expected this. Nobody would have put money on Bossfight taking map 1.
Certainly, and hopefully Globochem are taking advantage of this little timeout here and discussing with each other what their plan of approach is going to be for this potentially last map coming in, so that they have an actual fighting chance here, because Arsenic has seen some success. We've seen him getting some really nice shots off and creating opportunities for him and his team. So hopefully Globochem have some sort of plan B that they can rely upon to try to gain some advantages.
Yeah, I mean, what I expect to see from Globochem is a strong defense, not allowing any weakness now, and they need to reinforce their attitudes right now. You know, they need to take a second, talk to each other, remind each other that they're potentially the best in the world, and the Bossfight, these underdogs, aren't going to deceive them.
Absolutely, and it looks like we're just having some technical difficulties at the moment, trying to get those squared away so that we can get this semifinal done and over with.
Well, it looks like both teams potentially readying up now. I don't know where we're at, but you know, one thing we saw in that, like we're seeing from Bossfight, is great communication. Now, what often happens in even top-level play in Onward is that you get teams clamming up, right? You get the pressure is building up on you, and you forget to communicate. You're so focused, you're so laser-focused that you forget just to say something to the rest of the team. We saw Scooby-Doo shouting things out. We saw Scorpio shouting things out. We see the teammates really communicating, making the most of all that intel they have, and making sure that everyone on the team knows everything they know.
Absolutely, kind of a stark difference between Bossfight and the beginners.
Right. I mean, beginners, slow, methodical, very, very definitive play, whereas Bossfight, more energetic. You know, they've got something to prove. You know, they're like again, Scooby said about the Season 2 BRL finals. It was over so quick for them that they didn't even feel like they had a chance to like prove themselves. Now, this is the chance, right? They're the 1 map up. And this is their chance. This is the chance to prove they deserve to be here. Because a lot of people question, you know, it's not uncommon for people to really, really count Bossfight out.
And not only did he mention the season 5, but he also mentioned that they want to be back. They want to be back on top and a contender in the talks of being a top team, a top contender. And they certainly want to regain that respect.
Now look at these smiles on this team right now. Look how happy they are. They haven't even won, right? They've in their own minds, they've already won a victory. You know, they took that map. They didn't expect to. Look at them. They're 1 point up on map 2. There's just nothing but happiness in Legil's face right now. I wish we could see Globochem's reaction. I think we'd see a much somber team. We see now Huchi, who within the Onward community is famous for falling over a table that was in front of him. He didn't realize it was there. He was in virtual reality at the time. And he knocked out his 2 front teeth.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. You can't tell that now looking at him, but yeah, he knocked out his 2 front teeth playing Onward. But it didn't stop him. He was right back in there that same day. He didn't,
that grit and determination shining through, huh?
Yeah, it didn't scare him away. He's scared of tables now, apparently.
Oh, no, PTSD.
Yeah. Post-table disorder. But yeah, no, virtual reality, he loves virtual reality. Huchi, as you can see, quite an aged gentleman, but he plays so much. He's probably the person who has the most hours in Onward, or at least in the top 5 people with the most hours in Onward. And it shows, you know, he's a very skilled player, not to be underestimated. Sometimes he can be a bit too much of a lone wolf, but again, sometimes you see that pay off, you know, especially with like players like Pants on Globochem. He's a very much a lone wolf player at times, and it pays off for them again and again and again.
Absolutely. And we saw some lone wolf heroic plays coming out of Arsenic on the Globochem side, and it looked like, I mean, yeah, the 1 round he had 3 quick kills and put a point on the board for Globochem, but that was pretty much all we saw. Yeah,
and it's really, really uncommon to see this from Globochem. You have to wonder, I mean, maybe these technical difficulties with the inexperience today, maybe is that playing into it somehow? You know, is that kind of taken the edge off them? Is that unhinged them, whereas Bossfight are just, because of their underdogs, you know, less, they've seen this as an opportunity. Maybe like it's not getting to us psychologically because, you know, it doesn't matter. We're here to prove ourselves. We're not on top. Like Sleepy said, when you're on top, it's harder to stay on top, right?
Yeah, it's certainly something to consider.
Yeah. And then we see, so you saw me earlier, much earlier, showing off the Pro 2 VR. That's something that the players use to stabilize their aim. And down there we can see a homebrew by Arsenic. It's basically just PVC piping, right? It's called the Black Mamba. It's what he uses. He refuses to change that for anything. You know, he's won about 3 or 4 Pro Tubes now from all the championships and everything, but he refuses to use it. He's happy with his Black Mamba. He's happy with his little PVC piping, and it works for him. You know, he's one of the best shots in Onward.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it is those weird things that give these athletes that sort of confidence and kind of a lucky charm type of deal thing, and it is kind of weird from the outside perspective, but it certainly seems to boost these players' confidence having something special like that.
Right, we're seeing a very, very serious face on Pants here. Usually happy-go-lucky kind of guy. We see him fidgeting nervously. I think Bossfight's got them. I think psychologically they've got them, and I think Globochem need to rally themselves. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. They need to rally themselves psychologically, reinforce their attitudes, bring it back in. You know, they need a moment just to huddle in and go, we can still take this, guys. You know, this is our game. This is our game. Onward is our game.
It looks like these players on Globochem, they're looking tired. We have a player sitting down on the ground, probably recollecting his thoughts, thinking about his trials and tribulations leading him up to this point, trying to figure out what it is that he can do to help his team.
Absolutely. But staying hydrated, as we've said so many times today, so important. You know, this is an active game. You know, you're not sat in front of a keyboard, even though, you know, you still need to keep hydrated. They're there, moving around, jumping around, ducking, diving, throwing grenades. It still takes its toll. And again, wearing a headset, as ergonomically fantastic as the Oculus Rift is, it's still like this thing on your head, right? It's still going to generate heat as this thing pressed against your skin. So, you know, taking that time, taking a breather, having a drink. There's only so much prep you can do before you over-prep, right? And you start having a big, big issue with your play style.
Definitely.
So some players we haven't spoken about. Legil, not new to the team anymore. He was a pickup as I was leaving Bossfight. and he's proven himself to be one of the leaders of Bossfight now. He's always coming up with tactical plays. He's someone who always tries to G up the attitude in Bossfight when they get down. He's that guy who's always trying to like put a positive spin on things and really try and progress the team forward. Scorpio, as we saw, is a playmaker. He was the guy who held the line for Bossfight in the first round of Bazaar. He's the guy who got 2 kills to make it not a shutout for Bossfight. Scooby-Doo we saw getting the cap. He's the team captain, and he got the cap. And Hoochie, as I said, you know, Lone Wolf. And UC Death, the newest pickup for Bossfight, and all of them are gelling really well. This is a stronger team than we saw at Season 2 Finals. That were 2 different players here, UC Death and Scooby-Doo. Sorry, Scorpio. Couldn't make it to Season 2. And he's here, he's proving himself on the stage. It's his first time in this kind of realm. And again, it's like he was born to be here.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
How do these players practice putting the code in? Are they dry running and doing drills and practicing reps putting the code in, or is this something that they just rely on whenever every blue moon they put the code in?
I think you hit the nail on the head, right? They practice putting the code in. They practice that button movement. Ba, 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 ba. You know, memorize it. Ba, 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 ba. Memorize it. Ba, 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 ba. Again and again and again in the pub lobbies, in any practice sessions. They will take time out to just do that. And it's another thing like with reloading, especially as we see with the pro tubes and everything, the stocks, the gun stocks. We'll see players doing the muscle memory of reloading. So you click the button to release the mag. Immediately turn the gun sideways so it ejects sideways. Before that's even coming out, they've got the next mag flying straight in and cocking it in one movement, right? And that's a practice maneuver, again and again and again, till it's just muscle memory. Ba ba bang, reloaded. Ba ba bang, reloaded. Ba ba bang, reloaded. You know, because again, this isn't a game where you press R and you reload. You have to physically reload the gun.
Definitely. Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely. And again, muscle memory. You don't have muscle memory in like. In keyboard mouse games, right?
Well, you do.
You do.
Well,
sorry.
you do.
You're a Counter-Strike player. I know
Yes.
that. I didn't mean to offend you.
No,
You absolutely have muscle memory, but not.
You definitely do.
It's a smaller subset of muscles, then, should I say, in keyboard and mouse, right?
I've got a bone to pick with you, actually. You mentioned earlier today that you didn't think game sense and having skill in FPS games was transferable, and I got to say, I completely disagree with that.
Oh, it's transferable. What I said, just to be exact, was that it's transferable in the early part of that game. The first 5 to 10 hours, you'll have an advantage over someone who doesn't play FPS. But I think that something else comes through then, right? I don't think that you can rely on that experience to carry you forward.
I absolutely think you can. It's game sense. It's how you develop and create depth in your knowledge and how to approach video games. I mean, it's all the same.
That's a really good point. But what differs is the psychological effects of being in VR and the game sense of actually having that suppression fire, for example, and aiming, using your arms to aim, right? If you're someone who's never played video games before, but you fired guns all your life, it's really transferable into this. Whereas in a first-person shooter, it's not transferable almost at all, really, in comparison. So having that taking the breath in as you shoot, and having that muscle memory already from handling rifles or anything like that in real life transfers in, whereas it doesn't as much as in FPS. So those real life attributes come in. Fitness can come into it, where, of course, it comes into keyboard mouse games, but the physicality isn't the same for a keyboard mouse game versus, Onward virtual reality.
Definitely. And we see Globochem players here. He's completely relaxed, just sitting back and counting the sheep.
I mean, you can't. There's no point of having the headset on, waiting to go, because you just burn yourself out, right?
Yeah.
They're doing the right thing here. They're taking a breath. They probably had that huddle I was already talking about.
You think we're going to see anything completely different, like a 180 coming out of Globochem? I mean, they are at a deficit here coming into this so far.
Yeah, I have no doubt they're capable of it. And I think, but I think Bossfight are G'd up right now. What they have to do with Bossfight is make sure they're not too overconfident. But on the other side of Globochem, they can't treat this like they're on the back foot, right? They have to play the game. If they play defensive, if they play super, if they don't have that confidence, they will fail. They have to play the game they've always played, which is the game that has got them this far, that has got them so many titles under their belts, that has made them potentially the best team in the world again and again and again. They have to play that game. They need to get out of their heads, and that's something. I just don't know that's what we're going to see next. Anyway, we're going to go to a short break while they sort out the technical difficulties, and we'll be right back with round 2, map 2.
blocking my sun.
This is the one I've been searching for.
We almost made this place a paradise. We almost found the truth behind the Stormland. But the Tempest had other plans. Now our hopes come down to you. Will you transcend your programming and find the others? Are you willing to scavenge what you need and fight back? Dive deep into the slipstream. Channel the power of the Spire and reclaim your world.
And we're back. Bossfight versus Globochem with the upset in the making. The thriller for Manila, not quite, but still something something unexpected is happening in front of your eyes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we just saw Bossfight taking another round on Quarantine on that defensive side. Now we're going to see them swap sides, uplink in the exact same position. We're going to see if Globochem are going to be able to defend here.
But think of the risk, right? Bossfight, if they get the uplink, they win. They win it. They get that second position in the final
They've
tomorrow.
done it before, and I certainly can see them doing it again. And I think you can too.
I mean, this is the time. Now is the place, right?
Yeah, and they were so decisive about it that,
Yes.
it gives me confidence knowing that when that opportunity comes, I think they'll absolutely take it, and they'll take it all the way home.
So we're seeing an absolute mirror of the previous round. Bossfight getting exactly the same spawn, but Globochem giving up the north. They don't have any players heading north. They're just, wow, I've never seen this kind of play from Globochem. It doesn't ring true of the usual style. From what we can see from the map, Globochem are just shutting down on the objective.
It seems like they're almost mirroring each other, because on the other side of things, Bossfight, they're really tightly knit this time around as well. Before, we've been seeing one player kind of veering off and going off by himself and seeing what opportunities might come his way. But it looks like this time around, Bossfight, they're going to all stick together, at least for the time being, and see what opportunities can come.
This is really unexpected. I mean, this is the type of defense you see from Globochem is like to delta formation out. They like to cover a lot of the map straight away. We saw it in Bazaar in the first defense. They like to do like a nice big delta formation over an area, giving themselves a very reactive forward defense. But here we're seeing the absolute opposite of that. They're shelling up, turtling up in an RTS statement. On the objective, they're just basically all falling in on the objective, so scared to lose it. And this is exactly what Globochem shouldn't be doing. They're not playing their game as we know it.
Hey, you know what? Maybe on the other side of things, they're this might be their strongest strategy.
Right.
They got to understand that this is it. This is their chance, and if they get knocked out here, they're going home. So they're gonna have to start pulling out all the stops here. And Toast looks like he's found contact with an enemy.
Right,
Scooby-Doo's trying to get out of this sticky scenario with some smokes, though.
That's a peppering the situation that he's like made sight. He didn't manage to get the kill, but that's really risky for that Bossfight player. Whoever it is, he's out in the open. And he's been taken down. Scorpio.
Those smokes not paying off for him. I wonder what he was trying to accomplish.
I don't know. He'd been made as well. He knows
Yeah.
that he'd been made. So it was a really odd move considering how much dominance Bossfight have in the north to try and cross that road that late into the play.
Absolutely, and it looks like Otto's taking a peek towards this middle ditch area of the map, pulling out his tablet, trying to communicate with his teammates. And this AC on the high ground from Scooby-Doo, this is a very strong position.
Right. So I think we might be having some UI glitch issue with the map. I don't think we're seeing all 5 of Globochem players on the map, right? So I think actually the defense is much more spread out than we'd be able to. You can actually see the outline of Globochem, and they're actually far more spread out than the map is telling us. So I think we're only seeing 3 out of 5 of the Globochem players right now.
I see. That's going to give you a little bit of relief there, Radar Head,
Right,
because you were very confused, and certainly I was too.
Right, because it's not Globochem's play now. This makes a lot more sense. That you can see that the defense is more spread out. They're covering way more angles than I originally realized. And Bossfight was seeing quite a 2-2 spread. They need to make sure they don't rush the objective. They need to make sure they don't give away any more easy kills. I mean, that was potentially quite a big faux pas by Scorpio just then. But it's still all to play for with 4 versus 5. The objective is still capable.
It certainly is, and with 2 minutes remaining, we heard Lego pulling out some communication, trying to direct his team, I believe, on what their next step is going to be. With 2 minutes left in the round, they're going to have to execute here pretty shortly.
So Hoochie pushing up on the objective now. You see Death. And I believe Scooby-Doo is giving Overwatch from the center area, the center building. And we can actually see that from here, he's very in a risky situation, especially now he's giving his position away. A counterfire would be very, very easy to take him down there. You know, you're in an elevated position, your head's to show for everyone, especially when you're opening fire like that. You see Death picking up Pants, so Pants, Resable, still able to give out that intel.
What a quick frag from UC Death. Let's see if Globochem are in any sort of position to revive him.
Raphael takes down UC Death, though. That puts it in a 4 versus 3 situation. Again, UC Death Resable, and Raph not able to pick, to guarantee that kill.
He's communicating out to his teammates, perhaps asking for some help so that he can attempt to res his teammate, but I don't know if they're going to even get to that position.
So we're actually seeing a wraparound on the defense. Toast taking down Hooch now. Again, Hooch down, not out. He is resable. We could see a situation where Scooby gets Hoochie up. He does. An auto revives Pants. The Gil takes down auto. Wow, so we're on a Oh no,
A
Scooby-Doo
lot
taken
just
down.
happened.
Wow, so it's a 2 versus 4 situation with one boss fight player still resable. And we can see the res going in now. Will he be able to make it? Hooch takes down Pants.
And Globochem coming out with that quick, sneaky res. It's down to a 2 versus 1 scenario. One member on the boss fight up left. Raphael just taking some cover fire. Let's see if Legil is going to be able to come out on top of this.
Legil doesn't see him.
Oh.
Raphael putting
He
down
is
some
behind the
suppression
wall.
fire. Yeah, the suppression fire is there. The res is still doable. Will Legil be able to make the res? Raphael takes it up, and Globochem take the defensive round. It's 1-to-1 now. Boss fight Globochem. Globochem still in the game.
Yeah, and Lego really in a sticky situation. He didn't know whether to res his teammate that was down on the street or take cover, and unfortunately, he was just way out in the way open.
Yeah, it was really confusing there because from the position that UC Death was down, he should have been able to feed intel on the exact location that Raphael was. So I'm surprised we didn't see Legil like doing any suppression, preemptive fire on that position as he rounded the corner. It really didn't look like Legil had a clue where he was. So I don't know if the communication was lacking there, or maybe UC Death for some reason just didn't have line of sight on that. But Bossfight paid for it.
He definitely seemed to be a little bit pressured to try to revive his teammate instead of trying to figure out where the enemy is for a potential opening kill or any sort of trades or anything like that. He certainly looked like he was convinced he was going for that res.
Right, and he was committed to it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Raphael was putting down suppression fire in that direction, so you know that someone's shooting over there.
Yeah.
You have to think someone's looking in the direction. So maybe the pressure again getting to Legil, he should have, arguably he should have rounded back, maybe gone for some of the dead bodies of his teammates, got some of their equipment, maybe some smokes, grenades, and then try to get his teammate up using the smokes to give some coverage. Also trying to attack from a different direction, draw that attention away from his down teammate. Now we go into round 3.
Definitely, and Globochem with a solid defense. This bodes well for them. We were a little bit worried that Bossfight might snowball this out of control a little bit with their sneaky plays, but Globochem putting up a good defense. Now let's see if they're going to be able to pull the same stops on that offense.
But it was still super close, It
was.
Two Globochem versus one boss fight, and that res could have happened. It would have been 2-on-2 Toast, taking down an early kill on Scooby-Doo in defense, though.
This is great. A great opening for Globochem to start out this round right in the beginning too. Already 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the round, and opening up that round really puts an advantage for Globochem.
This objective is a nightmare objective. No team wants to see this objective. It's so hard to actually guard this office objective as it's known, because it's just an open area that surrounds it. So to try and to defend it, you're putting yourself at massive risk, which means we're going to see Globochem make use of that and take down Bossfight from various directions, but you have no choice but to defend that objective again, right? You lose 2 points, you're out, especially at this stage. If Globochem get an uplink, they take the map.
It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation.
Yeah, and we're seeing it play out right now. Arsenic picking up Scorpio. That's 2 Bossfight players in the north down, which leaves the north wide open to the Globochem players who are currently residing up there.
And yeah, 2 really quick kills, not even giving Bossfight any sort of a chance to trade out any of those frags. And so this gives a clear advantage to Globochem with 5 members up remaining and still almost 4 minutes left remaining in the round.
So it's, sorry.
No worries. We see Raphael just kind of looting there, and I understand that that's new after this update in 1.6.
No, they've been able to do that for quite a while now.
Okay.
I think 1.4, but I mean, it's still regarded as new. Given the life of Onward, this is something that changed everything when that came out. So it's worth noting the roof control that Globochem now have gives them full sight lines of most of the map, and we see Pants making use of that. But that intel that you're able to glean from the roof can change everything. And now they've Bossfight have no one up there. They have no choice but to total down on the objective. And they're basically just praying for some kind of miracle now, because they're in just the worst spot you can find yourself on this objective. Arsenic picking up Hoochie, that means it's a 5 versus 2, and it's looking bad for Bossfight. 1 versus 5 now in defense.
We spoke about that high ground being so advantageous in Pants. He was giving out communications, and now you saw him get a quick frag. So definitely paying dividends going up to that high ground and maintaining control and just hunting out your enemies.
Yeah, Globochem taking it there and making it 2-1 to Globochem, with Bossfight now on the defensive. Losing that defensive advantage. Now Globochem taking that advantage off them. But now Globochem have to defend that same horrible objective, right? So there's still a chance for Bossfight to bring this back, get a cap. This is very much one of the most capable objectives in Onward, on Quarantine.
Okay. Yeah, we're seeing some really stark differences. I guess it's all about that uplink and its position, because we've seen some calculated, slow, methodical plays. And then these past couple rounds, almost 2 or 3 minutes left within the round, and the round's already over.
Oh yeah, yeah. Globochem capitalizing on every movement they made, every kill they made, opening up the map, taking advantage of those areas they know they've cleared. And so now we see ourselves in a situation now. Are we asking, did Globochem use that downtime we just had to rally, to talk it through, go, right, we need to play a different game than what we're playing? Bossfight have brought their A game, we need to change it up.
It's certainly looking like it. It's certainly looking like it. They are showing a little bit of promise, at least. I mean, specifically in that first one, that steal, we were a little afraid that maybe the tilt factor might be showing through a little bit, but certainly they're putting out all the stops here, and we're going to be going straight into this third round here. Globochem up 2-1, and they're going to be defending here with Bossfight attacking.
All right, Globochem on defense now. It means everything to them to take this map. If they lose the uplink, if Bossfight can take it, that puts them through to that coveted second grand final position tomorrow. This pressure that both teams must be feeling right now is incomprehensible for them.
Raphael giving out some quick communications to his teammates, and Scooby-Doo answering and downing Pants right off the bat, giving Bossfight already an advantage right into this round.
And look at this battle in the north. Arsenic taking down Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo taking Pants. It's a 4-on-4 situation. The battle in the north so much. Arsenic taking down Legil now. That puts it on a 4 versus 3 situation with Globochem having the advantage. The battle of the north is not over yet, though.
And man, Arsenic, what a player this guy is. Already 7 kills, 1 death. We've got 4 minutes left in the round, and we've been saying Arsenic all night long here, Radar.
Yep, Arsenic takes down Scorpio now. Not got the 8th kill. He hasn't finished him off, but here it comes. He's looking for that finisher.
You hear Arsenic giving out the comms. It looks like he's pulling out all the stops, getting the frags, and leading his team.
You see Death picking up a Raphael. Raphael rounded the corner now, taking up Arsenic's advantage, thinking that he can actually push through, not realizing how many Bossfight have committed themselves to this role. But they don't realize, Arsenic doesn't realize he did not finish off Scorpio. So actually Bossfight could pick up that player, making it a 3-3 situation with 2 Globochem down right now.
Definitely, and we see Hoochie here again in this high ground AC position. We saw how dominant Globochem was with it in the last round. Let's see if Hoochie can actually produce the same results. I
mean, Globochem are going to be aware that they've lost the roof at this point, right?
Yeah.
So they are going to be watching it like eagles. This gives the potential to get that res on Scorpio, which would be such a game changer for Bossfight right now if they can build the confidence to do it. They just need to make sure they work as a team. Hoochie needs to create some noise, create some opportunity for whoever the remaining Bossfight player is to go and pick up Scorpio, because that will change everything. That 3-on-3 situation cannot be overstated. What a difference that will
and
make.
I feel like Arsenic is in a really solid position here, right in the middle of that choke point, hiding behind a car. I don't think Bossfight are going to expect this.
And UC Death reses Scorpio. That's such a big thing. But Auto is in a really risky position. It gives him great oversight, but leaves the objective wide open if the 2 defenders that are on top of it go down. Oh man, I'm finding it really hard to stay unbiased in the situation, given my time with Bossfight. So close. It's 3 versus 3 with the advantage that Bossfight have with Hoochie on the roof. Globochem are on the back foot. It might be 3 players versus 3, but Bossfight definitely have an advantage right now.
I would have to agree with you, and they still have even 2.5 minutes left within the round. We're taking a look at Toast here. He was just throwing out some cover fire, seeing if the enemies react to his fire, and trying to really find out where his enemies are.
Yeah, Globochem don't know where the enemy is. You can see the icons on the map spinning around, trying to figure out where are the enemy players coming from. Where is the attack coming from? They think there's only 2 Bossfight alive because Arsenic called out 3 dead. There aren't 3 dead. There's 3 alive.
There certainly are. And well, he's taking a look at his tablet, so he should probably have an idea that player has been rezzed. And
yeah, you have to remember, though, he can't see the other players. So one thing about the tablet is that you only see your teammates. You don't see the enemy, right?
Okay.
So you have no idea how many are alive, what the positions are. And that tablet only gives you intel on friendlies.
I see. Yeah, so definitely they are a little bit confused.
Wow, look at Scorpio's flank here. Auto has no idea he's been flanked. None of Globochem. This is huge. Scorpio has sight lines on. Oh, he takes the shot. He takes it down. Auto is down. The backyard defense is down. Globochem are aware of that, though. They're swiveling around. Meanwhile, the rest of Bossfight closing in from the north.
That was a little bit nerve-wracking. He took that first fire, and sometimes shooting in the back can be the hardest, but he does pull through and eliminate his enemy, giving themselves the advantage here. With 1 minute remaining, though, they're going to have to move in towards that uplink or find Globochem and really eliminate them quickly.
Scorpio takes down Arsenic. That means it's 3-on-1 now. Bossfight with every opportunity to get a cap or at least get that 1 point. Now it's 2-on-1. Toast picking up Hoochie. Let's see if Scorpio can make it 3.
Still a 2 versus 1 for Bossfight. They're still in this advantage, but they've got 45 seconds, and it looks like UC Death has spotted Toast here.
And he takes him down. Bossfight leveling it up 2-2 with Bossfight now on the defensive advantage. Wow, what plays, what a surprise. Arsenic's miscall there on 3 deaths, potentially causing such a upset for Globochem.
Absolutely, and wow, we are going all the way to the 5 maps here, 2-2. This is very close.
Yeah.
Very close indeed.
Again, Bossfight have the defensive advantage. All now rests on where this objective is. They don't know, neither team has any clue where this objective will be, which could define everything. If they have the most, like a more defensible spot, like the garage as it's known, the gas station objective, which is in the southwest, they'll be in a very advantageous position there. To hold that line it's one of the easier objectives, arguably, to hold. If they get that, they could win this just by default of the fact that they've got the defensive advantage. And that's why the defense/attack advantage really comes into play here.
Now, if you could choose the uplink respawn yourself for both sides, and you had that ability to choose, which one would you choose?
I think, I would say we got some highlights here. I'll answer that question later, but at the moment we can see that Arsenic now picking up the second boss fight player, and we're going to, well, okay, we see Scorpio, who was down, got rezzed, and again, I said that res would be so important. It was. Scorpio then able to flank round and take down 2 Globochem players from behind.
Definitely clutching through, and you know, they were struggling with the idea of rezzing in that last round, and we saw it kind of bite them, but this time around it definitely paid dividends. Right,
it absolutely did, and that Arsenic miscall again, I know I hate to repeat myself, but that Arsenic miscall meant that the guy he downed Scorpio, instead of trying to pick up on the kill or watching for that res, nobody was looking in that direction, which allowed that res to happen, which allowed Scorpio to then kill Arsenic back in turn, right? So yeah, that opened the door for UC Death then to get the final kill.
So we're basically, they need to be a little more bloodthirsty.
Right, right. So it's all down to this final round. But if I was to choose an objective, historically, I would choose the eastmost objective spawn, which is Marsok. It's called the Marsok 1 spawn to a lot of people. And that classically is the easiest one to defend, but unfortunately Bossfight have a really bad track record of defending this objective. That objective means you need to hold the south hills, and it's that cross. Again, crossing those roads gives huge sight lines, gives huge advantage to any enemy team, the enemy team that's watching you crossing the road. But if they can get that cross, that means you can lock down the south approach, and the north approach is almost impossible. So that would be my classic preference, but I think gas station would still be my preference in this case for this team. For Bossfight, I think it'd be easy for them to hold this against Globochem.
And hold it, they're going to need to do indeed. I mean, it's all coming down to the wire here. If Bossfight are able to close this out, then it's over. Globochem, they're going home.
Yeah. Who do you think is feeling more pressure right now? Do you think it's Globochem knowing they're on the precipice of going home, or Bossfight on the precipice of going into the grand final? Which is more pressure?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. You know, I gotta say, Bossfight are on a roll. They look like they know exactly what they need to be doing, and so I feel like Globochem are under a little bit more pressure, right? I mean, they came into this thinking that they were gonna be the best and perhaps win this one a little bit with ease, and looking forward to tomorrow's final already, according to some of the interviews, right? So it's like, I feel like they're definitely feeling more of the pressure.
I think you're right. I think that now Globochem are probably saving some stuff for the final, right? With this new patch, there's different things people haven't thought of, which Globochem would have thought of. And you know, I even spoke to Toast. He said there's things that we're going to do to beginners in the final, right? This was his presumption. There's things we're going to do to beginners in the final that people just won't expect. Beginners won't see coming. But that can't ever happen now because beginners isn't there. And now maybe Globo might not be there. It means that they can't hold anything back. Any of these surprises they have in the back pocket, they have to bring to this round against Bossfight, and they would not have seen that coming. And now we're heading into what has to be the last round. Bossfight on defense, 2 against 2, and it is the East objective, the one I called that classically I would have wanted them to do. Now we're going to see it's so important to get this south cross. Unfortunately for them, Globochem have got a spawn area, which means they can lay down suppression fire down that walkway. Are we going to see any boss fight successfully crossing that road? Look how many smokes have gone out. Red, green, gray. They are putting everything they can into this cross.
And you hear a lot of communications there, trying to get that cross on the street. As you mentioned earlier, it's going to be so strong if they're going to be able to get into enemy territory a little bit early and start setting up shop and figuring out what their next plan of execution is going to be.
Have they faked out that no one's crossed? No one has crossed. They put out like 6 smokes, 5, 6 smokes. No boss fight players have crossed. They've turtling up 4 players on the objective. Globochem won't be expecting that. Globochem would have expected some players to make it to the south. So I mean, Bossfight have given up the south, but Arsenic using the drone, which basically it's a drone. You fly it up to the air. He can see on that tablet what we can't see, which is what the drone can see. So he can use this for intel, but also he can use it to distract Bossfight's defense, right? Scooby-Doo making a late cross to the south, maybe?
You know, I love that we're seeing that here coming down to the wire. We haven't seen a drone all tournament long, and we're finally seeing it pulled out here in the last game, potentially the last game.
Scooby making the cross. Sorry to interrupt. Scooby making the cross to the south, and that's such a big play. He survived the cross. Will he be able to get into a defensive? 2 players from Bossfight doing a really late cross, 1:20 into the map. That's crazy. No, again, really unexpected play. No one would have expected, no offensive team would expect an enemy team at this level to do a cross at 1:20.
Definitely 200 IQ plays because they didn't get spotted doing it either, so they definitely know something we don't because it's paying off for them.
So they've locked down potentially now, as long as those 2 Bossfight players in the south don't get killed. I mean, that goes without saying. They can lock down the south with an advantageous position from those hills, and there's 2 of them there to back each other up. Meanwhile, we've got Hoochie protecting the north. He just has to keep his head down, make sure he doesn't get sniped by whoever that Globochem, which I'm assuming is Arsenic player in the north.
Is Globochem gonna? Are they gonna expect this player so aggressive on their side of the street here in Bossfight?
In the south, absolutely. Absolutely, they'll be expecting it. But Toast taking down Scorpio on the objective. That must have been a snipe shot. He must have taken such a long range. Yeah, we can see from Toast's position, that was a long range shot for Toast to make. And it's going to pay off. That's a Bossfight defense on the objective now who are down. Still, Bossfight have a good surrounding defense on that objective, but close in now. We can see Arsenic rocking the sniper rifle. He knows someone's going to be in that room. You have to have someone in that room, right? So Arsenic is laying down suppression firing. He's seen that person. He's not able to capitalize on it and get the kill, but his intel has gone out.
His intel's definitely gone out. He's communicated to his teammate, and we can see Raphael trying to make space for him and his teammate with that shield, trying to get into enemy territory and gain some advantages because things have kind of slowed down here, and with 2 minutes left on the clock, Globochem is going to have to make some moves here pretty soon.
UC Death taking fire now from Raphael. Raphael's pistol not able to kill UC Death, but he's made contact and he knows he's there. Arsenic Wheel, meanwhile, rotating far north. He could get caught out now, but there is a Bossfight player center east who might be able to catch him out. They don't see each other. Toast looking for that pickup. LeGill in a really risky situation here.
And all of a sudden, all the players have really congregated towards each other.
Arsenic taking out Scooby!
Scooby-Doo getting taken down by Arsenic. A quick kill with that sniper rifle. We were talking about Arsenic and his sniping abilities. So glad to see him pulling out all the stops here, especially when it starts mattering the most. And LeGill downing Raphael quickly.
Wow, 1:30 left on the clock, and it's a 4 versus 3 situation now with Globochem potentially being able to res that down player. Unfortunately, we get some technical difficulty on the reap. And it's cleared, thank gosh.
Things happening really fast, and all of a sudden, Globochem with a clear advantage into this round.
But 1:10 left on the clock. Globochem in a really dominant position here to attack the objective, but Bossfight still holding some tight angles on the objective. The uplink doesn't matter. LeGill down now. It's 2-on-4 situation now. Bossfight on the back heel. It means everything if they can just hold the line for 55 seconds.
And I think that's asking for a little bit too much with Arsenic killing off UC Death once again. And Arsenic is a name we've been saying all night long. He's definitely an MVP performance for Globochem here. And only 1 member left up and running for Bossfight.
The objective wide open. Hoochie takes down Pants. Gets taken down by Toast down, and now Globochem have evened it up. 1 map each. Bossfight failing to hold the line. Getting too excitable, not holding enough, getting too peaky, getting picked off. They should have just turtled up, held the line, allowed Globochem to enter the lair instead. They went looking for the kills and got killed in turn.
They definitely did, and we've been, wow, Arsenic, what a time for him to show up and perform and clutch out those rounds. Such impactful kills leading up into the series.
Absolutely. Bossfights to play for, Bossfights to lose, and they lost it. Unfortunately, Globochem outplaying them, and Arsenic, and we're seeing a showreel now, LeGill showing how good they are. Pants, again, Scooby. The refrag is so important in this game, right? Positioning yourself, knowing where the location of that last kill came, and immediately responding.
Definitely, and we've seen some fast trades and really impressive fast reactions from all the teams here leading up to this finals. Is these guys are ready. They're ready to make those trades happen, even if they have to force it. So really impressive stuff indeed.
Absolutely, and honestly, Bossfight could have taken that, but Arsenic's sniping and his long-range accuracy as mentioned before, comes into huge play here on a map like this, and it paid off for Globochem. Globochem taking the map. They needed this. Now Bossfight. Now Globochem have got that advantage back in the core, right? Bossfight are going to be feeling the pressure. Globochem are going to be feeling confident.
They definitely have, and the next map is going to be Suburbia, but before we get into that, we're going to go to a short break. Please come back.
Could you do that elsewhere? It's blocking my sun.
This is the one I've been searching for.
To fight with the Sorcerer Supreme. You wanted it, you got it.
That one's for the bugle. This is awesome.
Space Junkies brings lightning-fast, jetpack-fueled shooter to the VR League. Challengers will face off in 2 versus 2 team deathmatch in deadly orbital arenas. The action now comes thick and fast from every direction and vertically in these new spherical battle spaces. The rules are simple. Eliminate your opponents as fast as you can in 5-minute rounds. Players will duck, dodge, weave, move, and groove through interior and exterior maps, grabbing a variety of insane weapons along the way. From cosmic rippers to biopumps, players have access to two-handed and single-handed weapons to choose from. And of course, dual wielding. In terms of points, each frag counts as a point. First to 15 or highest number of frags wins. Watch out, there is friendly fire, even in outer space, and killing friendlies will result in a loss of points. Like any competitive shooter, tactics play a key role, so playing as a team and using covers is essential when attacking or defending an enemy target. Your skill in aiming and ammo management will help you stay alive, so watch your lines of sight and keep that spatial awareness. Get ready to strap on your jetpacks and get shooting in the VR League.
All my life been looking for a true love, a real one. You, all I want to do is be there for you. Be there for you.
Mine is no ordinary forge. And this is no ordinary steel. You may be a god, but to become legend, you must do battle as mortal heroes. A spellcaster who wields arcane powers. A rogue, fearless in the face of danger. A warrior, fueled by vengeance. Call upon your immortal power to transform beasts into companions. For none can survive this path alone. Destiny waits for no one. Not even a god. Answer the call as Guardian. Eternal glory awaits.
And we're back. Map 3, Bossfight versus Globochem. It's all to play for. I know I've said it. I'm saying it again. This could go either way. This is Suburbia, a map that Globochem has consistently good on, but Bossfight sometimes are brilliant on.
Yeah, Suburbia is definitely a map that both of these teams are very familiar with. It's definitely a map that I've even seen quite a bit in my short time here casting Onward, and so it's certainly a map that a lot of our Twitch viewers should be familiar with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the wild card of maps, if you ask me. I mean, this can go... It doesn't matter which two teams play on Suburbia, in my opinion. It can always go either way. There's no one team who locked down Suburbia properly.
And just like we saw on Quarantine with that uplink position being so vital and important with the outcomes of the round, Suburbia, it could be said the same thing on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Bossfight get a legendary cap on it recently in the VRML Community League. Obviously, they'll be looking to replicate that here, but Globochem would have seen that. They would have learned that, and they're not going to have the same door open that the team that Bossfight did.
For sure, and you know, we saw in the last map with Globochem kind of turning, you mentioned perhaps maybe they were going to talk and discuss in that timeout that we had in that technical pause, but they came in and it looked like a different team almost because they were struggling a bit and they brought it back and they won it pretty handily.
Oh, absolutely. They picked off Bossfight's defense one by one. They brought the game to Bossfight. They played what they needed to play, and I think that delay really, really helped them and perhaps saved the day for them. And now we're going into round 1, map 3, for the coveted second position in the grand final tomorrow against G-Man. Who will it be, Globochem or Bossfight? Potter, what do you think?
Oh boy, I know you're rooting for Bossfight, and you know, I think you've turned me, you've made me into a fan, and that dream of having that NA versus EU final, it is really enticing, and I hope that it happens.
All right, we got Bossfight on defense here. Raphael rocking that shield as he loves to do.
Otto's trying to look. He's got his teammate a little in the forward position, and there's Toast in that forward position, quickly taking out Hoochie, and Pants also taking out Scorpio, but Scorpio quickly trading out Pants before he goes down.
All right, that leaves it on a 4-3 advantage on Globochem, though, with the objective still guarded by 2 Bossfight players and a 3rd Bossfight player taking the middle mansion building. You always have to have someone in that building for any south objective on this map.
Toast he had an inkling. He understood that the enemy could be there in that area, and you could see him pre-firing, pre-aiming in that position and seeing if he can create an opening.
Right. Absolutely. And the problem with like trades, Auto picks up UC Death, that leaves it a 2 versus 4 now with Bossfight on the back heel. Globochem taking this to Bossfight, but the 2 Bossfight players on the objective, they're not going to be giving that up without a fight.
They certainly are, and they are definitely turtled up, trying to defend that uplink, and they have a little bit of breathing room here because Globochem, they don't know that these 2 players are already turtled up by that uplink. They're going to be a little bit cautious. They still got nearly 4 minutes left within the round and the man advantage, so these guys, they're going to be trying to be as thorough as they can before they get near that uplink.
You're absolutely right. The problem for Bossfight as well, doubled up. They don't know how many Globochem players are left. They don't know if any of Bossfight have traded, have taken down any Globochem players. And all they know is that all the forward defense is gone, and it's just relying on these 2 guys.
Oh, Liggle is in such a vital position here. He's pretty much forward position as his teammate is in that house, but I think it's all going to come down to Liggle and his trades and what he's going to be able to bring for Bossfight here because they're at a 2-man disadvantage here.
Ligel really needs an umbrella, though, where he is. It's such a grenadable spot. It's such a risky defensive position. And we saw Ligel take a similar risky defensive position in the last round of the last map, and it really did not pay off.
It certainly didn't, but I guess sometimes, you know, when you're at such a deficit in the round, 2-man down, you got to take some risks, and this is certainly what Ligel is trying to do, is take those risks and see if it pays off.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm really nervous for Bossfight's defense, though, not only because they're outnumbered, but that second Bossfight player who's upstairs is moving around a heck of a lot. He needs, like, all it needs is Globochem to see him move that once. The reactions and their accuracy are so fast they could easily punish any sideline that they see. Scooby-Doo picking up Raphael, though, in the meantime.
He might have gotten the shield, he's saying, communicating out to his teammate, and this quickly turned into a 3v2 scenario, and Bossfight are actually making this within reach.
This could be a trade, though.
Oh,
Scooby-Doo and
Scooby-Doo!
It's 1 versus 2 now. It all on Ligel.
What a shot, and Scooby-Doo really doing as much as he can, taking down 2 members of Globochem before he goes down himself. Now it's all back down to Ligel in a 1 versus 2 scenario with 2 minutes still left in the clock. We gotta say, Globochem still has a bit of the edge here.
Yeah, absolutely, and Ligel here, a really hard defensive spot. I don't see how we can hold it. I really don't. With 2 minutes, well, just under 2 minutes left on the clock, Globochem have such a major advantage here. I don't know if they know that it's 2 versus 1, but either way, Legil is in such a hard position to hold.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Not a lot of cover, and you're absolutely right. An umbrella would make him feel a little bit more secure for sure. Let's see if he repositions. No, it looks like Lego's very comfortable within his position here, and he's okay with this, and he's going to throw a quick nade.
Otto might pick him up, though. He's going to be getting high sight lines from the center mansion, this building that's so important to hold. He might be able to spot straight down onto Legil if Legil's not careful. The pre-fight coming out. Yeah.
Upstairs is clear. You hear the communication coming out. Globochem, that's coming down to 1 minute. You know, if Lego plays this just perfectly, if the timing comes into his favor, this might get a little sticky.
If Otto peeks over that edge, he might just see Legil's to head and take him down, but nope.
They're playing so cautiously on the Globochem side of things, which I guess is a good thing, but they've only got 45 seconds left within the round here.
Legil's giving himself away now. He missed the shot.
Those missed shots.
He needs to reposition. This is terrible play from Legil now. He needs to stay low. He's given his position away. He really needs to make every second count, fall back, make sure he doesn't get picked off at range. Use that time to your advantage, Legil. Smoke coming out from Otto. The grenade following up. And it's a grenade on Legil. The umbrella was not deployed, and Legil goes down.
Wow, what a grenade to end things out there. I mean, things did look a little dicey for Legil, but really Globochem seemed to be the ones that were pressured more so than Legil. Legil was out in the open, and he seemed to be okay with that. And it was Globochem that was very cautious, and they end up throwing a grenade and right on the money, that Kobe grenade paying off.
Right, and this is the problem that Bossfight faces, right? They've closed down a little bit. Like, that was a rookie mistake by Legil. He gave away his position and then didn't reposition accordingly.
Yeah.
And a grenade, a clean toss of a grenade, exactly on point where he was, and he paid for it. You know, he paid for that rookie mistake.
And he certainly took a bit of a hard shot as well. I'm not even sure if Globochem spotted him out while he was there. He just kind of shot and gave away his position without really doing much damage at all. And so, yeah, he certainly put himself in a sticky situation.
Right, with 30 seconds on the clock, if he'd repositioned, there was a high possibility they would have been forced, with so little time left on the clock, to just run out in the open and hope for the best.
Yeah, you can certainly use that uplink kind of like a teammate in that situation. When you're on that defensive side, you can use it, make the other team go in there and start messing with it and utilize that to your advantage for sure.
And we have a reset. Hopefully not an extended problem. Hopefully it'll just be a very temporary slowdown. But what we saw there was a situation where trades happened, okay? Now that trades for the defender meant that he doesn't know that trade has happened. Your teammate can't call in that a kill has happened. And we saw that happen twice. So the problem that Legil also faced was he didn't know he's against two enemies, right? He, as far as he's concerned, he might still be against 5.
Absolutely. And we're going to jump right back into this with now Bossfight on the attacking side and Globochem on that defense. And Globochem's attack seemed to be pretty strong, and we'll see how their defense goes. But that uplink is still in that same position down in the south side.
Are we going to see the fatigue burning down Bossfight or Globochem? I think Globochem will be re-energized now. They've taken the second map. They've taken the first round of the third map. I think Bossfight may be feeling too much of the pressure. Do they have the energy reserve to carry this home?
Hopefully so, and you're absolutely right. Globochem, they're sort of revitalized here. A bunch of grenades coming out of Bossfight's side, and they seem very coordinated on these smokes. So let's see. I'm assuming they're going to try to push up forward into forward positions with these smokes.
Possibly. I mean, they're blocking sight lines from that defensive area, but they have to remember that the center mansion is so important, and they're not doing any clearing tactics on it. And in fact, Scorpio making a cross in front of 3 people in the center mansion, he was always doomed to death.
He certainly was. Those smokes not really helping him in that scenario. Yeah, he was really kind of out in the open, and Hoochie kind of going for the same play, and Raphael punishes him immediately.
Now Legil also about to do the same thing. They're right next to him.
They don't see him.
Raph pulling out the knife. He tries to get a knife kill, but gets down. It's now a 3-on-3 situation with Bossfight pushing up heavily on the objective. Pans rushes out, gets 2 kills. It's now down to 1 Bossfight player. Pans in the open, though.
we're hearing some very excited calls coming out from, I believe, the Bossfight side of things. But yeah, Globochem thriving in that chaos. I can't believe how fast those trades came out. They didn't see Raphael in that corner.
No, no. And Pants, it's actually Pants calling out there, like literally going, there's one on our side! Like literally, he doesn't care that he's giving away his position. He wants his team to know that there is a player who's made it through. Imagine
if Raphael got that knife off. Oh, that would have been so crucial. They were not reacting to him whatsoever.
He must have been like he fumbled a reload. He fumbled his reload, so he switched straight to knife. But now we're seeing Bossfight now on a 2-0 disadvantage. They have the advantage of being on defense, but I mean, the pressure now is unbelievable. And Bossfight, they don't handle pressure well. Not the same as Globochem and beginners.
Especially this pressure, it's so much more, right? I mean, they're so close. They're so close. They brought it all the way down to the wire, and they're really just one round away almost from that grand final.
Yep. And the thing with Bossfight now is they need to reinforce, do exactly what Globochem did last time, right? They need to have the huddle. Come on, guys, we can still do this. Don't close up. Keep communicating. Keep talking. Let's do this.
Yeah, and who would you say on the Bossfight side of things, which player is going to be the one that's going to be that vocal and kind of create that camaraderie with his teammates?
Honestly, I think all of them will at this point.
Yeah?
You know, like I feel like they're all going to be geeing each other up. I don't think we're going to see the same kind of boss fight we've seen in the past where they give up. Like they're still in this. They still believe they can do it. I'm certain of that. Globochem, though, with a 2-0 advantage, they just have to take it easy.
That is certainly good to hear. And we saw Otto and his teammate on the Globochem side of things doing the exact same strategy that they did the round before. One player forward by that white fence while Otto holds the back position. We'll see if that pays off for them once more here.
Yeah, we just saw the joys of VR then, you know, Scooby-Doo just holding his gun around the corner and blind firing something that, you know, exclusive to VR, but it's fantastic to see. And this is my favorite objective in all of Onward. The middle mansion is such a crazy objective to guard. We can see 4 of Bossfight in the center mansion with with Globochem spreading out, trying to get any pickoff they can, not realizing that, of course, 4 of the 5 Bossfight players are in the middle mansion.
And that player in the very south front house on the Bossfight of things, he's solo. I think he's going to be the player that's going to be very impactful here. He's going to have some clear line of sights because these enemies on Globochem's side, they're going to be focusing that uplink house.
Oh, absolutely. But the problem with Legil's position, again, is he hasn't brought his umbrella. A single grenade will dislodge him from there, and it's not uncommon. And see, we see a grenade going in now on his position. Will it catch him? It falls short.
Thankfully so, right? Because if Legil got down from a grenade again from the same exact spot, that would be very unfortunate. But Legil does come out on top. He's still in that south front house position, while the 4 of his teammates are really turtled up near that uplink in that center house.
Globochem for looking for a cheeky peek anywhere now, but that would be a rookie mistake on Bossfight's half. They know these windows are going to be watched by eagles.
Yeah, and I think Globochem have a pretty good idea of what's going on here. They don't see anything. It's way too quiet across the map, so they're really focused in on this center house. You can hear the communications going out. I think they're trying to tell each other, hey, listen, I think Bossfight, they're all turtled up in here.
Right, with UC Death the only, with Legil, the only satellite player in defense. So they're so close against the transition of sound, they can hear each other talking, so they're just messing with each other now.
Some playfulness coming out in this high pressure moments. It's good to see that the players are having a good time, you know, loosening up a little bit. Sometimes that can be advantageous for yourself.
Right, absolutely right. I mean, Scooby's not even afraid to say, I'm here, right? You have to defend the middle mansion, so you know, you lose nothing by just being cheeky and trying to mess with the enemy.
Absolutely. We're coming down to 2.5 minutes left within the clock, and some cover fire coming out from Scooby-Doo. It looks like he's just trying to distract, trying to intimidate Globochem. Hey, man, I'm defending this area. Don't come over here. A stray bullet might hit you.
Yeah. Look at me, I'm firing, look at me, everyone look at me.
Oh, what happened?
Downs Raphael in a friendly fire situation. A res should be quite capable here.
Okay, so we just heard from the producer that this round does not count. There was a slight technical issue, and so that's why we saw that TK coming out.
Right.
Thankfully so. I was like, oh no, Globochem.
Right. That's unfortunate because I feel like Bossfight felt confident there. You heard them being playful.
Yeah.
They had tight sight lines. Fortunately, though, nothing was given away to Globochem. So Globochem have no idea really where Bossfight were really worse. They don't know that Legil was satellite playing in the north. They don't know that 4 Bossfights were in the center building. They do know that Bossfight didn't do an aggressive defense, but they still have very limited intel to play forward now.
They certainly don't. And so I think honestly, Bossfight should just really stick to the same game plan. Make Globochem sweat it out a little bit. You know that Globochem has to come to you.
Right.
And that uplink is certainly in an advantageous position for you guys in that house.
It is, but Raphael's shield play comes into a major access point there. If you're able to lead with that shield into the mansion and you don't get flanked, that means you can basically just be that forward sponge which opens up the door for the rest of your team to rush in, clear the building. They don't need to go for a cap, but if they get a cap, it closes it out with a 4-0 to Globochem.
And we've been seeing some heroic shield plays coming in clutch today. A lot of teams are being able to use that utility really to its full its advantage. But you know, we're going to come back to those thoughts here in just a little bit as we go to a short break. Please join us when we get back.
You've caused us considerable inconvenience. In a moment, the Lord of this monolith will give you a task. A word of advice. Do not anger Vader.
Now that Vader's found you, he's in reach of enormous power. You must escape.
Grab my hand! I wonder what Vader is after.
It appears Vader has finally found his candidate. And our future is in your hands. Vader is here.
You are the one I've been searching for. Do as I command.
Is there any version of this plan that doesn't end up with us being dead?
Hey everyone, we are back in with round 3, map 3, Globochem versus Bossfight. Bossfight on the back foot here.
Oh boy, Radar, it's coming down all to the wire, the last round of the series in the 3rd map to see who's going to make it to the grand finals tomorrow versus G-Men.
Right, I don't know if Bossfight are capable of holding the line here with that much pressure. It's Globochem have been here before, Bossfight haven't. This is still new territory for Bossfight. They came out of the gate swinging, they took the first map, almost took the second map, and now they're here 2-0 down in the final map. They have to hold. They have to hold. They, unlike Globochem, they can't possibly win this right now from this round. Okay, Globochem can get a cap. They can kill the enemy team. Either way, they win. Bossfight hold. They get 1 point. They're still on a 2-1 disadvantage, and then on the disadvantage of being on the attack rather than on the defense.
For sure, but you know what bodes well for Bossfight though is as we mentioned earlier, is the uplink in the position that they were in. Bossfight were turtled up. They were in advantageous positions. They certainly had a good look into that round.
Right, they absolutely did, and it looked, you know, we didn't see Globochem actually make an attack, so we don't know how effective the defense of the attack would have been, but we're about to find out. Same objective, same team, same spread. Let's see how it goes.
Same uplink. I'm curious to see if Bossfight are going to group up once more. Is Lego going to go to his little tree stub in front of that front house again?
I want to say no, but he's going to do it anyway. Like, I don't really want, and he stopped that again.
There he goes.
This is my place. I'm comfortable here, guys.
You know, I feel like he had one insane round recently, and he's just like, you know what, this is my confidence zone. This is the spot where I'm going to make or break it for my team, and they absolutely need me to step up. So I kind of like that. I like the fact that he's got a game plan and he's just sticking to it.
Okay, so we're seeing a different spread from Bossfight here. They got one guy over at the south east area. It's Scooby-Doo, and not a position they were expecting. Now, so what I was going to say was that Globochem are going to take away from the last map that the map was wide open, so they can guess that at the very least Bossfight are rolling in the south. But Scooby's played it up now. He's changed his tactics. He's heard Raphael. Will Raphael be able to...
Look at Lego. Lego's position. He's looking towards that east side, and he's helping out Scooby-Doo.
Scooby's rounding now on Raphael. He falls back, though. I think they saw each other, but Raph's shield saves him, but also Scooby-Doo now in a really tenuous position.
I think Scooby-Doo just needs to back up here and be patient. Use Lego. Have Lego help him out. They both have the same line of sight. If you look at the mini-map on the bottom right side, both these players are looking towards that east side, and Scooby-Doo with a quick frag.
But the refrag could come back in. The second player coming around.
Oh, the reload.
And he shoots us. Arsenic shoots Scooby-Doo in the butt. Scooby-Doo should have known better.
You know, Scooby-Doo, that was not an optimal place to reload your weapon.
No.
And he had plenty of ammo, I believe, to take another fight and expect an enemy for that quick refrag.
Yeah, that was a big mistake, and Bossfight are going to suffer for it. I don't even know that they know that he took down Raphael. I don't know that they know that. I don't think Scoob actually had a chance to communicate. He may have got the click away before he died.
So we're quickly into a 4 versus 4 scenario here with 3 minutes, coming down to 3 minutes left on the clock. We can hear Pants looking at his tablet and communicating to his teammates.
The problem we have here now is Legil is zeroed in on where Scooby died, not knowing that the Globochem player who took him down, Arsenic, has relocated. So Legil's effort here not going to pay off.
It certainly is, and hopefully he's able to create... Are they making the fake noises as if he got downed by that grenade?
No, I think a grenade actually did some damage, but not enough to take someone down, which is really...
rare?
Yeah, it's rare that a grenade does damage without actually taking someone down. Unless it was a bullet at the same time as the grenade going off, and that's what we heard. Legil now changing his view. He might be able to pick up on the Globochem player, but another Globochem player who's there is hidden by the bush. Legil not been able to convert this into anything. Meanwhile, Globochem pushing in on the objective from various directions, but not, you know, they're not certain where Bossfight are. They're playing it safe. They're not rushing in, assuming that all of Bossfight are in the center mansion, and they're right. Legil, that satellite player in the south.
Absolutely, and Bossfight are playing this as best to their ability as they can. They understand that the enemy Globochem has to come to them. They have the uplink, and you know, we kept talking about Legil's spot. I really think it's going to be the most impactful spot here coming up into this round, because Globochem have no idea that Legil is there, and Legil has all the line of sight that he needs.
Bossfight are getting very antsy on defense now. Scorpio rushing the position, but he doesn't find the kill. He's running on Arsenic. UC Death kills Scorpio, though. This is big. UC Death then kills Pants. Pants downs. They're both resible, though.
At least UC Death does trade out a frag before he goes down, though. Oh, no. Arsenic quickly revives Pants.
It's a 4-on-1 now. It's looking impossible for Bossfight to hold this. They're doing the objective. Legil crossing, but it's a 4-on-1. He doesn't stand a chance. He gets taken down, and Global are going to take it. They take the second position in the final tomorrow. Bossfight beaten. They're going home. They're going to feel terrible about